Okay, so in this video we're going to be covering your adjustments when you change a new printer head or when you're changing your printer head. Or if you have an alignment issue where white is showing on your images, if it's whether it be your vertical or your horizontals off. I'm going to show you how to fix all that in this video. Okay, so after you've changed your head, you're going to want to start off by going to the Adjust tab. So there's a tab in Print XP which is Adjust. And then from there, you've got these options here: Head Install, Step Adjust, Headspace, Color Adjust, and your Bidirectional. So when you switch your head, so if you just changed your printer head, you're going to start off with your head install. So just make sure that's highlighted. You're going to go over to here and you're going to click vertical check, and then you're going to hit print adjust. So what you're looking for in this is, so this is perfectly straight, but you will notice a jagged edge about halfway up or 3/4 of the way up. So if it's jaggedy, that means that you need to manually align your head. So if there's any jagged marks that come in the middle, in here, then you have to adjust that accordingly. And we can go through that if that needs to be done. Okay, so once you do your vertical check and you've manually aligned your heads properly and you have a good readout, then you're going to move over to your step adjust, and then you're going to hit print adjust, and we'll have a look at this reading. Okay, so in this reading here, what you're basically looking for is the 0 to be in a flat neutral zone. So wherever the ridges stop, so the ridges are coming down here, and then it stops at 0, and then it continues to go down here. So you want to bring it to where there's no ridges. So once you find that one spot where it looks straight and flat like that, then that's your 0. So let's just say, for instance, this flat line is over here. It's at like a +2, and it's still rigid on your 0. So you're gonna make it +2 if that's where it looks right. So you come back over to your Print XP, and you're gonna calculate that in. So if it's +2, all you do in here is just write 2, and then you hit calculate, and then you print adjust again. I don't have to make any adjustments, so I'm not going to calculate this, but that is essentially what you would do, is put the number that looks good, whether it be a plus, and if it's a negative, so if you're in the minus, all you do is put the minus before the number, and that if you're in the minuses, to get to that even level. And again, just hit calculate, print adjust, make sure the 0 is nice and straight like I just showed you, and your adjustment for your step adjust is done at this point. So after you're done your step adjust, you're going to go over to your headspace. So in headspace, there's 2 options here that you have to do. You have to do your horizontal and your vertical. So within horizontal, you have a left distance and you have a right distance check. And then in vertical, you just have 1. So we'll start with the horizontal. And you start with your left distance. So we're going to print adjust the left distance. Sometimes you have to move your film ahead a little bit so it just doesn't go on the last check. So I just like to move it ahead just a little bit, and then I'll do a print adjust. and that will print out my left distance to see what kind of modifications I have to make to get it straight. Okay, so basically on this readout, what you're looking for is these two black lines. I'll go over to where it's really bad. If you notice, you got a solid white line and then these two black lines here. So what we're doing is we're looking for them to line up perfectly together. So you just keep going across until they look perfectly aligned. And then once that black is perfectly centered and it's all even with the white, then you're gonna hit. You'll make your adjustments accordingly here, whether it's a plus or a minus. So you'll write that in here. And then of course, once that's written in, you just have to hit print adjust and then recheck it and make sure that you're aligned properly. And you keep doing that until that white line is lined up with the two black lines. So once you get the left side done, then you're gonna move to the right side. So then just hit print adjust on the right distance. So we've got the left good, and now we're gonna move to the right. Again, we're just checking. You can really see where it goes off. And you just come across. And let's say, see the zero is good on this one. On here, it's perfectly centered. But let's say that it's perfectly centered on like -4, looks really good. And the 0 looks like this, like it's off. So what you're gonna do, again, if -4 looks like the one that is perfectly aligned and straight, you're gonna come over to Print XP. You're gonna go down into this section here and you're gonna adjust accordingly. So if it's like -4, then that would put me at 0. So I would be writing 0 in here and then hitting print adjust again and then checking it and making adjustments accordingly. So you may have to do +1 at that point. So again, just come in here and just add 1 to whatever this number is or minus to whatever this number is. And then hit print adjust. Make sure that those two are aligned straight. And once you have that done, just go up to your save button. And I like to just save it after every couple of tests. And then what you're gonna do is we can go over to our vertical now. So that's our horizontal done. And now we wanna go on to our vertical. So all you do is hit vertical. There's the main number there that it is, that's aligned. We're gonna print adjust and have a look at it and learn how to read this one. Okay, so on this one here, you're going to notice a solid white line, and then a black line on each side. And what you're trying to do is align this solid line with the two black lines until they line up. So if you look here, that white line is not lined up with those two black lines there. So what you want to do is you want to start adjusting it accordingly until you get this white line straight across with those two black lines, so it's completely a straight line and there's no gaps at all. So I'll move over to my 0, and my 0 is looking, my 0's bang on. But let's say again, let's say that +4 looks like it's better than 0 because 0's off. So what you're gonna do is if the +4 is lined up like the 0, like it's perfectly across, but it's at +4, you're just going to add 4 to the number to calculate in there, and it should bring it straight across. So you would come over to here, of course, and it's at 440, but I needed +4. So I'm going to add 4 into here to make this 444 instead. And then of course I'm going to print adjust. I'm going to recheck that. And if it's totally straight and there's and it lines up with each other, then you leave it at 444 and you hit the save button. Now mine was 440, so I'm going to put that back. I don't need to adjust, but just adjust accordingly, whether it be a plus or a minus. And if it's a minus, you're minusing from 440. So if it's like -1, you're going to do 3 or 439 is what it would be. And then you would hit print adjust and check it accordingly. And then once you get it lined up, again, just hit save. And then we move down to, we can skip the color one and just move to your bidirectional. So go on to your bidirectional, and then from here, you just hit print adjust. And we'll see how our bidirectional is. Okay, so on this one here again, you're basically taking that solid, you got your 2 white lines on the top and the bottom, and then there's a solid black line that goes up the center. And what you're looking for is to make sure that it all lines up straight and it doesn't look something like this, where it's kind of offset. So again, you're trying to bring it back to where it's completely straight. So again, if it looks this straight, but it's on like -3 and it looks like this, that's what you want. You need it to look like this. So wherever this looks like on your chart, that's what you're going to want to mark it as, either your negative or your positive. So again, just making sure if this one, so if it was lined up on -3 and -3 looked really good and that's where I want my 0, I'm going to -3 and calculate that. So then again, of course, you would come over to here and you're minusing 3 from the 10, from that value there. So if it's -3 that looks good, that would be 7. You would just change that to 7, hit print adjust, make sure it lines up. If you have a perfectly straight line, then you're going to want to hit save and save that value. And now that you've done all that and you're aligned, you should have no problems with your white exceeding your image or anything like that. Your alignment issues should be solved at that time. And again, only when you're doing a new head install or when you're switching it over, you're going to go to head install and just make sure that that vertical is straight. Otherwise, if you're just having alignment issues, you can start at your step adjust and then do your head space horizontal and vertical and do your bidirectional. And that's it. That's how you make your adjustments accordingly to your printer.